Hi, GenderBlenders. Welcome to week 61 of GenderBlenders. This is Steffi. And this week's question concerns the dreaded sex gender box. For this year's United States Census, did you or will you fill out the F or the M for the sex box in the form? The form indicates there's only one choice. You're not allowed to write both. Or I suppose you're not allowed to write neither. So there's only one choice, F or M. The U.S. Census occurs once every 10 years. And it's really intended to verify the demographics and how they're doing. So they ask questions about your name and age and gender and, well, in this case, sex. Also ask about your race and all that sort of good stuff. But that's a different part of the question. But for us, transgenders, the appropriate box or the interesting box, or maybe the dreaded box, is the sex box. And I find it very appropriate that we have to fill this form out on April Fool's Day. It says right there, it says, because they want to take a snapshot at one specific instant in time. And they're asking us to fill it out on April Fool's Day, so everyone's sitting there. Somehow that day is appropriate for this form. But the dreaded sex box leads me into my first joke of the day. And that's, a good friend of mine has a Scion XB. He has those funny little boxy thingies. And first thing he did was, first modification he made to it was make it add an OX at the end, so it ended up being an Xbox. You know, the little game thingy. And somehow that seemed to be appropriate. Because it's relatively appropriate. I did see one of those things going by with a sign on the back of it that says, "You have just been passed by a toaster." But that's not part of this joke. That's a different joke. But he finally added or made it into a special edition, or so he thought it was a special edition. But of course, when he put all of that together, it ended up being a sex box. So that didn't go. I think that actually ended up lasting about 3 weeks until somebody stole the name, the little name thingy that he had put on the back. But that's the little XB joke, which then leads me into my driver's license joke, which is actually appropriate for this week's question. Excuse me. On your driver's license, you do have a question as to, you're male or female. And in California, it's very nice because when we fill it out, we can actually get, I can actually get my name and gender changed now, which is kind of nice. So right now, I'm working on my court-ordered name change. I'm in the process of doing that, but eventually I'll be able to get both my name and gender changed on my driver's license. So the driver's license joke, a little kid comes up to his mom, says, Mommy, how old are you?" And the mother replies, "Don't you know it's not very nice to ask a woman how old she is?" So the little kid goes away. A little bit later, he comes back and says, Mommy, how much do you weigh?" And she says, it's really not appropriate to ask a woman how much she weighs either. So the little kid goes away again. But then a little bit later, he comes back and says, Mommy, now I know why. I found your driver's license on the coffee table in the living room. And now I know how old you are. You're 29. And now I even know how much you weigh. You weigh 140. And now I even know why Daddy divorced you. Because you got an F in sex. Ooh. So, but, so that's the infamous driver's license joke. So what did I fill out in the census form? As I mentioned, census form does, there's the funny little census form kind of a thing. And not that you can see it now, you can. Oh, okay, so if I turn it that way, you can kind of see the form. And I know a lot of people at work, and they were saying, you know, I'll bet you there is no chance that she does anything other than mark female on the form. So, of course, you might see that I marked female on the form. And it was a no-brainer for me. I am a female. So it was very easy to fill that box out. As a matter of fact, all the boxes and all of the forms that I run across, just recently I'm going, I don't know whether you can see the swelling in my face or not, I've got some gum issues that need to be straightened out. That's why the kind of the little funny way I'm talking and stuff. Hopefully by the time you read this or see it, I will have gone through that. That's the reason I'm recording this ahead of time. Even though by the time you see it, the form I would have normally filled that out. I did fill that out ahead of time. But that's okay. Anyway, I filled the form out. And all the forms I fill out, I filled the form out at the dentist office when he was there, the periodontist's office. And it had the usual male, female, and of course I just checked the female box without even giving it a moment's thought, because that's what I do. Those folks who say transgenders can't or shouldn't fill out anything other than what's anatomically correct, tough. That's the way it goes, folks. What I don't know, or what I do find to be very interesting, though, is all of the forms that I can fill out, and I am filling them out. I think I told you folks that I'm in the process of going through all my documentation this year. I was going to do that for New Year's resolution. So I am doing that. My court date's April 27th, I think I mentioned. And for the name change, that is. And once I do that, I'll go through, cycle through the Social Security name, and then my driver's license name and gender, and then all my bank records and stuff. And then I'll start worrying about the operation. But it allows me to parallel all this stuff up. And then, of course, I can cycle back through the gender change. So you have to go through 2 sets of changes, so to speak. But that's okay. So that's what I'm doing. The question I have, though, is for you folks that don't binary identify, that has got to be a much tougher question. Do you fill it out with the gender associated, or the sex associated with any hormones that you're taking? Do you fill it out with how you mentally conceive of yourself? Do you fill it out with what's between your legs? That's going to be a much tougher question, because for us folks that do binary identify, it's, you know, it's one or the other in any case. For you folks that don't, that's a really tough question. Much tougher than what I'm facing on the dreaded sex box. So that's my take on this week's question. I hope that was fun for you guys, and hope you enjoyed the couple of jokes. And in any event, until next week, this is Steffi saying bye-bye.